Hello, this is Johnny. Today we're gonna talk about the new Pi 4, about the Redream. But first, before we talk about it, I want to go over the Arcade1up's button. In most of the game, like this new emulator called Redream for Dreamcast, you do need to have a roughly 12 button, and so you have button from A, B, X, Y, then left trigger, right trigger. Okay, then you have a button made for like turbo and screenshot, main screen at the bottom. This one main screen, and then exits out the game. So this is exactly perfect for, and also for Nintendo DS. So Nintendo DS and Redream is good to have 12 buttons. So you got 6 on top, you got 4 on the bottom, that make 10. Then you have select and start. And I think I put turbo on screenshot on the top. I don't remember now. But anyway, if you want to configure this, you have to plug in Xbox controller. Keyboard does not really do a good job. Keyboard will work, but it's best to have an Xbox controller plug in so you could reconfigure it. But keyboard should work as well. So for example, if you want to configure it, you only need to pick one and configure it. You don't have to configure all of them. So let me show you how to configure it. Let me go ahead and start the game. Press. I already configured mine, but I'm going to redo it and show it to you. So let's go up to the main screen, and then we could go over the setup. Now, for some reason, it won't let me configure the joystick. Okay, so if you try to configure the joystick, it's going to mess up. So you start by now different games do different things. So I'm just going to press start button to start the game. Let me pick my favorite character in here. This is a pretty cool game. I never played this game, but it's pretty awesome. Okay, I just pause it. So you could shoot and move around, so the button is all working. You could kick and then the special power button. You could kick, punch, and shoot same time. See, right now I'm just punching them. I'm kicking them. All right. Uh-oh. So anyway, to configure this, I have to go to the main menu. So I gotta set up with the bottom. It will take me to the main menu. Now, to get here, if you can't get to this screen, let's just use the keyboard because I unplugged the keyboard. But because I had problem with it at first, you just press the escape button. See the escape to get to this menu. And for here, I believe you press this button to get to the main menu. So I could get out, get back to the main menu. Okay, main menu. Now, the reason you want to use this is if you accidentally messed up the joystick, which I tried to configure, and then my D-pad won't work. So I have to use this to move around the D-pad. Okay, so I'm using the left analog stick. Not this is the D-pad, this is analog stick. And then I press the A button to get into the screen. All right. So now, if it's the first time you ever plug this in, one of this button is supposed to be your A button. So more likely it would be the L1. I mean R1. Okay. So it recognizes I have two metal Micro on Tech USB plug-in, which is this joystick and this second one, and then it recognizes my Xbox controller, which is the Xbox controller, and then it recognizes my keyboard. So it recognizes pretty much everything you plug in. Now there is one game that even though the joystick is working, one of the games do not work on the joystick. This is from a Wolfanoz, that his image 256 Raspberry Pi image. It had Redream, which is Dreamcast, and the way you configure, you go in here, you pick joystick 1, which is this one, then you really don't do anything here. You just go down to here and you do customize binding. Okay, now if you accidentally try to configure this, because one of the game, first game I think on the top, when you try to play the shooting game, the D-pad did not work, so I tried to reconfigure this. If you accidentally reconfigure this and you can't change it back, you have to go here and do reset, okay? Otherwise, it will messed up. All right, let me show you what happened, what I did. One of the game, the direction didn't work, so I figured, well, maybe I should reconfigure this. So I pressed the A button and I tried to go up. Up did not work. Up did not work here. Now the down arrow worked. And then now my down arrow is gone. And I'm like, oh great, how do I put it back? And same thing with here, with the D-pad. If you try to do the D-pad over here too, it will messed up, okay? So, let's see if I can zoom into the screen. Okay, so to get this back, you know, if you come back here, see that my down button is all messed up. So I have to use this second controller to move, because my controller now is messed up. So now if I press A button here again and I press down, it will take it, but only the up button is screwed up. Okay, so let's go down here and let's try the left controller. See, the left controller did not work, but the right controller worked. So it's always one of them work and one of them do not work. So now I come back here and try to fix the right controller by pressing right. So it took it, but somehow I cannot configure the up and left. I don't know why. Maybe this is how they do it, but I can't configure this button right here. So I say, okay, that's not good. All right, that's not good. All right, so let me try to configure the D-pad. See if this will work with down. So now it took all the. So it kind of screwed up the whole thing. See, because you're not supposed to use D-pad. I don't have a D-pad, and now it took the setting up here. So I need to go back up here. Now I can't move up, so I have to use my second controller to move it up. So in other words, if you try to do anything on the controller, don't do it, because there's only one game that the controller do not work that I know of. The other game I tried, the direction work just fine the way they have it. So now it's like, well, how let's put it back? The way you put it back is you will go to right here and do reset. Okay, if you reset it, everything will be back the way it was. So you can press A button. All right, so next is the default setup. Now trigger button, all this is good, but this is kind of weird, so it's best to reconfigure it. There's no straight exit out the menu, so you always have to come here. What I did is I fixed it, so because this Xbox have extra button also, okay, and this one have extra button also, because I added 12 button. So there's no reason I cannot exit out directly out of the game. You know, I just need to put I need to map one of my button for that. So okay, so let's go to here and we're going to remap everything again. All right, so now when we're going to remap, we are going to go down the screen so you can see all the buttons that I have. Okay, zoom out. Okay. All right, so you can see all the buttons. We can't get the top one. Okay, let's do the best we could. Okay. So I cannot see the A button up here. The A button right here is the first one. The second one is the joy 2, B button, X, Y. Okay, but you can see the bottom. All right, so now the left trigger is my here, left trigger, right trigger. Okay, so to set that up, I have to press A button, which I already set up. But if you haven't set up an A button, you will have to press the A button here in the A, and it's actually labeled A, B, X, and Y. So you're gonna press the A button, and then it's waiting for you to put in the left trigger. So left trigger is on top, then go down, then press. Let me see my A button work. No, it doesn't work. Let's try this one. Okay, so I'm gonna press the right trigger. Okay, so those two are set up. Then I need to go over there. Start from A button. My A button is always this one, so I'm gonna press. Luckily, I have two controller, but if you don't have a two controller on your Arcade1up, it's only one controller. Then you need to plug a secondary controller so you can move around. Because right now we are setting this up, and you don't have a A button set up because my A button is none. Okay. Let me see if I can see my A button right now is set to none. Okay, so I have to set up a A button, but luckily I already have this button set up, so I just press A, then I'm gonna press A on this side. Okay, now I have A button set up. Okay, then you want to set up the B, you go down, you set up, press A again, press B button here. Okay, and then let's see, you can see everything good. Okay, and then the next thing do is the X button. So you press A, and the X is in the middle. My X is right here. Then my Y is on the top right here. So Y button. And then my star button will be on top. So press A, star button. And my turbo, I don't have so I have to decide which one I want to have it as a turbo. So I'm thinking I could use the select button as a turbo. So let's make it the same as with my Xbox controller, because I used the select as a turbo. So no, I didn't use select as a turbo. No, I didn't use the select as a turbo. I used something else. Okay, well, let's change this turbo to the bottom. All right, so let's move down the joystick down a little bit so you can see the button that I'm choosing. Okay. All right. So I'm down here now. I'm trying to decide. I got all this button I could use. So I'm going to use the first button as turbo. Okay. The second button I'm going to use is for screenshot. Screenshot, I seldom use it, but since I got all this extra button, I might as well. So press A, screenshot. Then my main menu, I'm going to use this second button for the main menu. So press A. This is this one. This is for the main menu. To exit out the game completely, I want to set the last button to exit out, so I won't get confused. Last button is always going to be my exit out the game. Okay, so all the button is set. So turbo is right here. So select, I didn't use any select. This it is a Dreamcast. It doesn't have a select button, so I don't have a select button set up. Now, those of you who want to exit out the screen, you could set your exit out button right here, select, to exit out the game, which it makes sense because in a previous Dreamcast or Red Case or whatever, I've got a name, RECATE, I believe, Rec. That one they use select for exit out, which makes sense because that's what they use to exit out the game previously. So if you feel comfortable, you want to exit out, you could use the select button for exit out. Now, the main menu, is it necessary to go to the main menu? I don't think you need to. So unless you could plug a keyboard and press escape to get to the main menu. But I prefer to use the select button for exit out the game. And if you do that, that would be the same as the previous setup for the old emulator. So the Redream is the one that okay, so now we're going to go back and test the game out. Before I was saying is that select button is used to use as the exit out game for the Dreamcast. So you could set that up as this one. Let me go back. Press B is to exit out this screen. Now let me show you what I did with the Xbox. Okay, the Xbox, the way they have it default is I didn't like it because they didn't set up this button right here. So what I did is for the turbo, let me get down here. For the turbo, I decided to use this button, number 7. Okay, why? Okay, let me show you. This is joystick 7. The reason I use joy 7 is because when you play in the game and you need the turbo, I want to go ahead and press this button down to get the turbo. So it makes sense to have, I don't have to take my finger off and press one of this button. I just press down to get the turbo. So it makes sense to have a turbo right here. And then the screenshot, I don't really do screenshot, but if I have to, I'll use the select button because it's not being used. Okay, the main menu is set up to be this one. That's the default one. But there's no exit out game. Okay, so I decided to use this one, press down for exit out the screen, which is joy 8. So let me show you, press down, you get joy 8. So that makes sense to exit out the game. So now when you're playing the game, you don't have to come to the main menu by pressing the home button to get here, and then exit out, then select that, then exit out the game. Okay, you don't have to do that no more. Okay, so press B. Okay, all right, so that's the Xbox. Now you might say, well, how come you didn't configure the second joystick? It apparently, since these two are the same model, the joystick work. You could configure one, the second one will work. So that's what the reason I say that is because when I went to my second joystick and press B, so I go to my second one, I look at the setup, go to customize bind. It already set up already. See, all this is set up already, so I don't have to set it up. So I said, okay, that's cool. So and it worked. So that's how I realized that. So okay, let's get out here. And to go back to the gameplay, you just resume the game. Okay, and there you go. You go resume. So now if I want to get out, I just press the bottom button and I'm out of the game. The one I'm talking about having problem is this one. This one joystick do not work. Now I'm gonna reboot it so you know where I got this image, because if I didn't pronounce his name correctly, I apologize. It's that you can look at it and see what this image. He had his name on this image. It's like Virtualman. When you boot up, it say Virtualman. You know. Here you're just gonna press the start button. If you try to press A, it's not gonna work. Just press start. I don't even know what it's saying. But this is I guess Japanese game, and some reason this game the joystick do not work. The up and down do not work at all. I don't know. See, right now, even right now, it does not work. So, and the Xbox do not work. So the game itself do not work. It's not because of the emulator. I might have to see if I could find this new see, the D-pad do not work. All the buttons work, but the D-pad do not work. So dead. And this will happen if you die. So that's normal. And they will come back again. So So that's one of the games that I know that do not work. Okay, so this is a Wolfanoz image. So let me go ahead and reboot it so you can see who's it made of, from who. This is 256 gigabyte. It's a good size because they have a lot of different gaming here, not just the arcade. You have also a good size of game, like game that normally doesn't work on Raspberry Pi 3B, but it work on Raspberry Pi 4B. Oh, it didn't show who made it. I guess you have to like totally reboot it from the beginning. Okay, let's reboot from the system. Restart the system, yes. So what I was saying, one thing is that this system, if you plug in the trackball and the spinner on this image, it do not work straight from the box. You will have to change the main from 2016 to 2003, and then the metal piece will work. And same thing with the trackball. The spinner for the is made by this guy, Wolfanoz, Wolfanoz. I don't know how to pronounce that, but anyways, by this guy, and he did a good job in the image. It's just that those of you who have Arcade1up and want to plug this in, your joystick and your trackball will not work right away. Okay. Now I recommend you overclock the Raspberry Pi to a 2.1. because one of the emulator does not run very smooth. I think it's called Atomics. The video did not run very smooth. Okay, so you will have to overclock to a 2.1. Now he had this one, 3 Doom, which have 10 games, which is good. And then he have, I'm not gonna go over all this. I'm just gonna, I don't have my, alright, this is 626. Amiga 25, 114 for CPC, 2049 for arcade. Atari 26 is 630. Atari 52 is 96. 7800 Atari is 58. 83 for Lynx. Now Atomics Wave, this is the one I'm talking about, 22. This one you have to overclock to 2.1 because I find the Dolphin the game sound wasn't very smooth when I play it. And Nintendo 64 is 64. ColecoVision is 149 on Daffy. Dreamcast you have 33, so it's good set. 386 for family computer. Family computer, this system is 128. 52 on Nintendo Game Watch, and he does have video on those too on the game. He have the snap, so you do have snap and the mixed artwork, so that's good. All his work is very nice. It does have everything. Dream Gear is 259. 557 is Game Boy. Game Boy Advance is 1026. Game Boy Color is 633. This is where I'm reading the information from. I don't think you need to look at my keyboard, so let's look at the main screen. Alright. Intellivision is 133, and this is just the video coax, always one. Sega Master System 277. Mega Drive is 778. Now he separated the Mega Drive with Japanese Mega Drive, which is cool. 193. 100 for MSX. Nintendo 64, you got a good set, 303. And Naomi is 56. Nintendo DS 252. Neo Geo 141 as a well, they could put at least 243, but it's only 141. It's not a full set. Nintendo is 786. Neo Pocket 40. I guess Oya. I never played this game. Is 5 down. This one, those game will work on Raspberry Pi. Okay. The one that do not work, I'll let you know. PC Engine is 285. So all this work on Raspberry Pi 3B Plus and 3B. 4 game only on PC Engine CD. Pixel, that's a program that you can run this game, application 1, I believe. And this is a port computer game 15. 2 game for, that's 2 just to shut down and restart. PSP have a 23, so you got a nice set of PSP, which is really nice. Now this one also you have to reconfigure the joystick because you cannot exit out directly from the game, so you have to add a button to exit out. It only take you to the main screen. 200 for mini, PSP mini, and PlayStation he have 92, not bad. It doesn't have all my favorite game, but it is there. And there you go, that's option. This one you have 96, Sega 32, 31, Sega CD 114, Super Famicom 609. Is that right? No, 509. Sorry, 509. Sega Dreamcast is 68. Super Nintendo 788. I don't know what this is, but it's only one. This one is always 5, the Super Graphic. Turbo 16, 95. Texas Instrument 90. 25 Vectec. Yeah, and 78 Philip. The video. That one's new, and I think that one will also work on regular emulator. Virtual Boy 25, Sharp 236, Z Machine 3, ZS Spectrum is 181. Okay, that's it. So he have a lot of good gaming here, not just 4, but he have a lot. The one that you want to play is the 3 Doom. Those are special made for the Raspberry Pi 4B. And this one too is for Raspberry Pi 4B, Naomi. And so, to me, I'd rather put the full version, put everything. The one that does not work on Raspberry Pi, I think somebody should go and make an image that put only the game that work here, the full set. Like this one, the full set is 30. This is only 22. There's about, I think 29 or 30 game total for this one, and this only work on Raspberry Pi 4B, and you have to overclock it. Alright, that's pretty much it on this video. Mainly was trying to tell you how to fix the Dreamcast, but since we're here, I'll just go over the game set. This game played very well as well. So this is 3 Doom. Now 3 Doom is a game that is actually made for it will work on Raspberry Pi 4B. So let's load one of this up and check it out. Now mine is not overclocked yet, so I will recommend that you do overclock this and buy a ice fan, because ice fan will cool the Raspberry Pi in a pretty good temperature. We're going to check the temperature. I think before I started it was 41, and now we're going to now there's a new, when you get your Raspberry Pi, when you put the ice box, it's a good idea to run some command, and those commands are it's good to improve the Now I know this game is very hard to emulate, so Oh, that's pretty good. Speed's pretty good. You hear the sound? It's not very. Yeah, the sound is funny. See, this is what I'm talking about. So I recommend to overclock some of this. You have a little bit of problem with this one, Dolphin. So let me show you. Let me demonstrate it so you understand what I'm talking about. The only two that you might have problem with the controller is PSP and Redream that we just went over. So those two controllers you need to set it up, plug a keyboard or Xbox into it and fix it. And I haven't tried the Nintendo DS. I imagine it's gonna be maybe will have some issue because it's configured by somebody else. But if you configure yourself, you know exactly what button is for what. But if you let somebody else configure it, you might not know what is what. There's no instruction what button is go, you know, with what. The sound is not that great. You notice the sound? You hear the background sound? It's kind of static. It's not that smooth. Okay, those of you who know how to fix it will probably love this image, but I see some kind of issue. Like I have to do some research to find how to fix the Dreamcast, but right away I didn't really want to do a video because I have stuff that I don't know how to fix it, and then I have games that have the static noise like this one and the 3 Doom, so I wasn't very satisfied about the image because the last one that I tested was Virtualman, and his image was fine, but he didn't have those games to test. So I can't really compare apple to apple because this one you have a different game set, and the Virtualman 64 gig have a different game set. So I can't really compare it. And plus, Virtualman I did overclock it, and this one I haven't overclocked it. But it have a good flavor game, and plus the game set is reasonable. It's on 256 gigabyte, which is of affordable micro SD card, but people will get. The 512 is too expensive. It's like $89. I could buy a 4 terabyte hard drive, and I'm waiting for the terabyte to come in. So I'm gonna burn the image on the 512 terabyte and use a 8 gig SD card just to boot up so they will see the hard drive. So that's my next video that I'm gonna do, is to do that. But yeah, if you know how to fix all this problem that I'm seeing, like that game, the joystick does not go up and down, and how to remap the joystick and then overclock this and fix the trackball. The trackball does not work automatic. Let me show you real quick. If you was to go into like Centipede, I was talking about, but I need to demonstrate. So those of you who are Arcade1up want to play the spinner and trackball, you burn this image for Raspberry Pi 4. The Centipede do not work straight from the box, and I'll just demonstrate and I'll show you how to fix it. Now centipede I cannot fix it. Middle piece I did. Okay, and the reason is this emulator is running 2016 and it's not configured. So when you start a game, the spinner and trackball, as you can see, do not move. So you have to use your joystick. Okay, so this game do not work. Even if you change it, it still do not work because this game that he downloaded is made for 2016. But if you go to the another one with the metal piece, this one metal, this one, if you when it boot up, you press the A button. Okay, get out. Okay, it's also using May 2016. Now the trackball spinner will not work, so you will have to change it to May 2003, which I did. I go here and I pick May 2003. Okay, and now if you was to run this game, let me launch the game. Okay. So my trackball now is working using my trackball. So let me bring it down so you can see I'm using the trackball. So the default is 2016, so if you let it run at 2016, your game is not going to work. Okay, and same thing with the templates. You have to change it to a different one so it works. I think templates is not going to be here. I don't think templates.